Iran promised to open the Strait of Hormuz, and they knowingly failed to do so, the president writes. This caused anxiety, dislocation, and pain to many people and countries throughout the world. They say they put mines in the water, even though all of their Navy and most of their mine droppers have been completely blown up. So there you have it. The meeting went well. Most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. Effective immediately, the president states, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in, all being allowed to go out basis, but Iran has not allowed that to happen by merely saying there may be a mine out there somewhere that nobody knows about but them. This is world extortion, and leaders of countries, especially the United States of America, will never be extorted. I have also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. We will also begin destroying the mines the Iranians laid in the straits. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. The president writes, Iran knows better than anyone how to end this situation, which has already devastated their country. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their anti-aircraft and radar are useless. Khomeini and most of their leaders are dead, all because of their nuclear ambition. The blockade will begin shortly. Other countries will be involved with this blockade. Iran will not be allowed to profit off this illegal act of extortion. They want money, and more importantly, they want nuclear. Additionally, and at an appropriate moment, we are fully locked and loaded, and our military will finish up the little that is left of Iran.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makakudash. Double honors to elders GMS Ruel. Peace, salutation, like I in the four corners, pushing the truth with sincerity. Peace be unto you. Shalom. We got escalation news. As you know, the war with Iran has been going on for, April the 12th? About, what is that, about like almost 40, but that's about like 50 days, ain't it? Yeah, I want to say about, it's 30. It started, pretty much February the 28th, I believe. So all of March, 30 days, about 45 days, actually, about 45, 43 days. This war has been going on. They call it Operation My Ass. Operations are in and out. This wasn't no in and out. This is a full-blown war. Keep claiming victory. But, however, you're still over there. And you're still being bombed, and you're still afraid to cross. Other countries still afraid to cross Straits of Hormuz, and you don't know what mines and what military capability they have to keep continuing this. But the major escalation news is that now America's blocking it. All right, first, it was this blocked, and only certain ships are allowed to go through. Iran was allowing, some Chinese ships or certain ships that's playing a toll and stuff like that. So it wasn't completely blocked. It was just blocked to America and Israel, I believe. Maybe a few allies. But now Trump is saying, all right, now ain't no ships going in or out. So this is an escalation now. This is going to be another amazing week that we're going to have to look forward to. As far as biblical prophecy that's going on. I'm looking forward to this. So they shutting off their water. So basically they're saying that you can't extort, Babylon and the rats and the Israelis. Continuing.
President Donald J. Trump.
Truly an extraordinary move by the president that follows on a lot of extraordinary moves by the president, recognizing that these are international waterways, and for 47 years you've had the mullahs of Iran holding the Strait of Hormuz hostage, holding the entire world hostage because of a weird little crook in the Strait of Hormuz that dives deep into Iranian territory that allows them to control 20% of the world's oil and gas supply. And President Trump has called their bluff. He has basically captured the hostage and says, no more. You're not going to do it. And I predict that other countries that rely on that oil and gas more than the United States does, are going to come around and realize that this is probably the only way forward.
So Iran felt like they had the upper hand, that they had leverage by trying to take this strait. And in a
as they always
1,394 square mile center of that strait, where hundreds of tankers are passing every day, they have allegedly mined it. Reports are that they don't even know where the mines are. They put it there, thus redirecting any traffic that went through to come through Iranian waters, to which they made them pay a toll. Those are the ships the president's going to go after. But this decision to begin effective immediately blockading ships going in and out is a indication that Iran never had the leverage that they thought they had. As we send in 2 destroyers into the strait to begin the mine clearing conditions, and now blockading it to render Iran's leverage really useless, that they can't affect it. Now, this goes back, by the way, to have full context of it, because the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea says that no bordering country to any strait, let alone Hormuz, can control it, let alone charge any sort of toll. And so the president's decision here is not only a reaction as a last resort to the fact that Iran won't play by the international law of the sea, but also you just had on April 7th, the United Nations held a resolution to basically open it up and tell Iran they could not do what they were doing, and it was vetoed by Russia and China. And so ultimately, this isn't just about Iran anymore. This is now also about China, who receives 80% or more of these oil tankers going to them. 90% go to Asian countries, and it is backfiring as shipping of energy starts heading east,
and this also
towards the U.S.
This forces countries like China to suddenly wake up and recognize that, wait a minute, we have to participate in this and clear the strait.
Do you remember after the successful mission rescuing the second airman, the downed Wizzo, Director Ratcliffe came out and spoke along with General Kane and Secretary of War Hegseth. And the director said, you know, we have the best military in the world. We have the best agency. We have the best intelligence, bar none on the battlefield, better described than I'm paraphrasing right now. But he said, but none of that matters. And all of that flies out the window without a commander-in-chief who has the political courage to put it into effect. And I know that's a different specific scenario than this, but I am reminded of that statement that all of our capabilities are rendered impotent and useless without a commander-in-chief and a president with the political and the geopolitical and the diplomatic vision to truly put American interests first. This issue with Iran has been a thorn in the side of America and the free world for almost 50 years. And we have seen what used to be one of our strongest allies become our definitively strongest enemy, in addition to China, over the last 50 years. And every commander-in-chief kicked the can down the road. And finally, we have one. And it's sticky. We are watching the sausage being made. This is not pleasant, but it's necessary.
And all this peace with Iran throughout all these years of the presidents kicking the can down the road, this has always been necessary to allow Iran time to get their weaponry, arsenal up. They got a whole underground, they don't even know the extent of it. Underground, basically, bombing nest, almost like the Vietnam War, but more advanced. Launching missiles out of silos out the desert, setting up mines in the ocean or the EC, Persian Gulf. Real quick, this is Joel 3 and verse 2. It says, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Are not all nations have invested interest in what's going on right now in the Straits of Hormuz? Just said a lot of these ships, they go to Asia. So it's just a matter of time. This thing is really ramping up, and I can't wait to see what it's going to look like a year from now, 6 months from now, 2 weeks from now. This thing is escalating. And negotiations are not going through.
And every president of both parties, both Democrats and Republicans, have recognized this problem, and nobody has wanted to go after it. And also, we find ourselves, President Trump finds himself in a situation where you have the United Nations and NATO completely feckless, completely incapable of recognizing the importance and the wisdom of actually going after this problem and clearing the problem once and for all. For decades, you've had countries in fights with proxies of Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, where they've played all these games. Iran has funded all of them. Nobody has funded more weaponry that has killed American soldiers and probably soldiers of other countries, with the exception of, outside of Ukraine, since World War II, than Iran. Iran is the world's greatest sponsor of terrorism around the world. And President Trump says, you know what? I'm not fighting with the proxies anymore. I'm going to cut the head off the snake.
If we could put that map up again of this strait, because I think what's really fascinating in the president's truth, and there you see it, in the blue is that main roughly 1,400 square mile area that you would have normal shipping routes going through. Now, Iran has said that's dangerous. There's mines in there. In that hazardous area, you see it blocked with the red lines going across, forcing ships to go through the red area, which are these shipping routes that Iran is apparently charging tolls for. And the president...
And those red areas are the Iranian territorial waters.
Correct. Those are the new shipping routes that Iran has forced ships to go through, because you can't go through the normal passageway. That is the violation of the law of the sea created by the United Nations Convention. And that is why President Trump is taking this step of blockading the ships. But what's fascinating is he says in his Truth Social, in capital letters, this is world extortion. And that's exactly the point that he's making. No country can take a international shipping route, take it hostage, attempt to, and redirect ships through their waterways, which is Iranian, close to shore is Iranian waterways, right? And charge a toll. And this is, I would say once this blockade begins, the end, even short-term result is going to be a abject failure on Iran's part to attempt to take this strait hostage. We had earlier this morning, Tom Sauer, a retired Lieutenant Navy commander that was in Navy EOD, and he talked about the men and women that are going in on the Peterson and the Murphy, the two destroyers you saw on that map that are now going in to start clearing the mines and start paving conditions. There you go. The USS Peterson and the Murphy have gone in. He said he was actually begging Admiral Cooper to send him, because this is what they've trained for their entire life. He said the plan to do something like free a strait, like the Hormuz Strait, has been around for decades.
Trey joined us earlier saying two salient points, one of which was the veracity of the Iranian statement about the mines. So as you see on that map, essentially it's the threat of the mine in that the lined area that then forces the ships into the area where Iranians can then extort them, right? So how do we believe them, right? That's part of the threat. And the other point he made that was so salient was that he's saying that the peace talks are, they're unfortunately they were not successful. Unfortunately for Iran.
Right.
Because we can do this all day.
So I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
So it's a lot of moving parts, and this is what we like to see. The scripture says, watch as well as pray. And this is stuff, we watch for. This is stuff we throw up curses for to get the hell up out of here. And I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakak Double honors to the elders of GMS Rule Well. Peace, salutations, and shalom.